New week, new ghost game with episode 4, The Dolls Manor. While Ruli and Hiro help with putting a Halloween event together, people slowly start to go missing. This was a nice episodic adventure, and I'm glad we got to have an episode to show how Ruli and Hiro interact with each other without the episode focusing solely on Ruli. They don't talk in the most intimate way, but Ruli in the most passive-aggressive way, telling Hiro to not speak in such a rigid and polite way to her was fun. And Goramon also gets a nice spotlight in this episode. Being a Digimon of average intelligence, Hiro actually is able to get some answers about Digimon and the digital world from Angoramon in a short but cute scene. It's nothing Digimon fans won't already know, but it's nice for the kids watching without much experience with the franchise. I also think it's cute that Hiro refers to Angoramon as Angora-sensei during this scene. The only thing I want to mention specifically from Angoramon's lecture is that he tells us that he's only familiar with natural evolution and has never heard of the temporary evolution that Hiro mentions from his adventure in episode 2. Kind of reminds me of Cross Wars, with how the power of evolution through bonds was lost, leading to the invention of Digicross to grow one's strength without waiting for natural evolution. This is the second episode where a level 5 Digimon is thrust upon Hiro and friends, and much like episode 2 with Mummymon, Hiro has to resolve the conflict without battle. I look forward to an episode in which this tactic doesn't work and Hiro and Gamamon will have to actually see a fight fully to the end. I also want to mention that this episode's tone is great, keeping it light and breezy for dialogue scenes and shifting to a more ominous tone when people start to disappear. The filter I mentioned from episode 2 is back, and used more often in this episode to help with a more oppressive tone to push the spook factor. I get the feeling that kids will get a kick out of it since it scales back the horror elements enough to be fun for all ages, without it losing that edge entirely. Sorry that this week's discussion is so short, but this episode being an episodic adventure means it doesn't have too much to talk about. It's just a fun adventure that still does a great job with characterizing the main cast, which is something I love about this series. Hiro and Ruli still feel the same way that they did back in episode 1, without any annoying inconsistencies with their characterization, helping you believe and relate to these characters, despite how little time we've actually spent with them. Now, before I go, I want to mention the preview for next week's episode, Divine Anger. Kiroshiro was sadly absent in this episode, and the reason seems to be that the next episode will be about him, as we see Jellymon primarily featured in the preview, as well as the third Vital Bracelet. Ever since the character descriptions were revealed, I've had my eye on Kiroshiro, and his personality so far is everything I wanted, just an entertaining character to watch. So the idea of him joining the team soon is really exciting to me. Anyway, that's it for the video. I hope to see you around.